Hey y'all, another garden maintenance video here. We have quite a bit of stuff to do today. Tommy actually just got the hanging baskets cleaned out and we're just getting ready to really start planting next weekend. We're still about 10 days out from our last frost, but our average last frost, I just don't think that we are going to freeze again at all. So I think it's safe to start planting at this point. And some things we will plant up in the front today, and I'll get some tubers back in the raised beds, but I won't be planting the hanging baskets or direct sowing any seeds back there. We'll be in and out for a couple days, and I just won't have the time to make sure that those direct sown seeds stay moist, as well as the hanging baskets. We haven't hooked up the drip yet to the hanging baskets, and when we do that, I will show you how, or at least how we do it and what works for us. Hanging baskets dry out so fast here, especially in the summer, so we just need to be here constantly for a little while to monitor that drip and make sure it's working correctly. Otherwise, we might come home and everything that I planted in the hanging baskets could be toast. So let me show you over here. I don't think I've shown in a previous video what I'll be planting in the front today. So let me just flip around my camera real quick and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so I need to get all of this Nemorosa Rose Marvel Salvia planted in the front. You might remember from previous videos that I mentioned that I was looking for a lot more of that, and what I had up front is all I could find last spring. Have some wire vine here that is going to go in some containers on the porch as well as the window box. I got some more Mexican feathergrass that you can see right there. That's the more upright variety. So when I went to the garden center, for those of you that are local, I went to TLC, and in previous videos I mentioned that I like the more upright variety. It's still just Mexican feathergrass, but some just grow more upright and others grow and kind of fall over. So I prefer the upright type, and I'll be replacing some of those ones that I have in the front that kind of flop over with these upright ones right there. What else? This is the fig that we planted in the last video. Have some birthday party sedum. I really like this color, and I have Mr. Goodbud up front as well, but this stays a little smaller and more compact than Mr. Goodbud. Let me see here what this says. So height 11 to 20 inches, zones 4 through 9. And it's great for borders. And so because I couldn't find Mr. Goodbud, I thought that that would be a good alternative. And I'll be replacing some of the little dwarf bunny grass that didn't make it with that sedum right there. So got a heuchera here that is gonna go in a pot. What variety is this? Silver gumdrop. I've planted this many of times before, but that's gonna go in a pot up on the patio. And then let's go back here. I really need to get this stuff planted too, but I don't know if we'll get to that today. We have a lot of stuff that we need to do. I need to get, I've said it multiple times, but I'm gonna get these beds worked today as well. Get the soil really worked in really nicely. I need to get that fuzzy wuzzy lamb's ear planted out into the actual garden. And then I'm also going to get these hollyhock planted. So I have the hollyhock Queenie Purple here. I did order some hollyhock seed as well that I'll be direct sowing. This one is the Charters Double Golden Yellow. And this one is Fiesta Time. So I'll be getting those planted back here today. Our drip irrigation does work in these beds, and so some plants that I've purchased from the nursery, I will get in the ground today just because they'll be able to handle if they dry out just a little bit. But when you direct sow seeds, you really need consistent, even moisture, and I won't be able to provide that until at least next week. We are also going to get these raised beds leveled. It's just Alex is a little bit behind and it's driving me crazy, so Tommy and I are gonna attempt to get these leveled today. I need to get this peony right here, which I'm really not excited to dig that up today. You can see the big buds that it has on it. I'm going to attempt to dig up such a large area that it doesn't even know that it has been disturbed. You can see all the ants there, if I can get it to focus on the buds. So the ants are mutually beneficial to peonies. They kind of eat the sap that's on those the bud heads, and they help to open those blooms. It helps for those to open up a little bit quicker. I missed some allium when I dug up all the allium that I thought was back here. Those hadn't come up yet, so I need to dig those up as well, and I will probably honestly just pop those in the front. I don't expect those to bloom this year at this point, especially having, we'll be transplanting them up to the front, but they will stay in the ground and they will bloom next year. Some lavender park iris here that I want to keep the rhizomes for. There are some poppy, and I actually just stepped on this one. This right here is a poppy. I was gonna try to keep those, and I might try to actually pop those in one of these beds. I don't expect them to make it. They'll probably dry out, but Alex is gonna get all of this stuff tore up, and we're going to be laying some stone there as well. So I'm just gonna kind of cut my losses. Probably I'll do what I can to try to save those poppies, but I don't expect to have much success with that. What else? Oh, something else. Okay, so I've had so many questions on the edging. So the edging right here, this is not an edging that we purchased from a landscaping store. It is from a steel store here locally that Alex gets it from. He then tack welded some rebar. Let me see if you can see it. So he tack welded some rebar here and then mallets it into the ground. So this is like really heavy duty. I've never purchased any edging, any cord and steel edging that was actual edging, so I can't attest to that. But so one of the subscribers did put in the comments that Edge Right is a company that sells cord and steel landscape edging. It already has spikes on the bottom, and I think they have different widths, like 6 inches and maybe 4 or something like that. I will try to find that link, and I will link that in the description below. So for those of you that are maybe interested in that, you can take a look at that. I don't know what lengths that comes in, and so that's our thing with the length. These are entire pieces, so we have some pieces in the front that had to be welded together, but these are entire solid pieces. So maybe you can get solid pieces like that through the Edge Right company, and maybe find somewhere out there somewhere, but we didn't want a whole bunch of small pieces kind of put together, especially in the front, because the front is almost, it slopes down towards the street, and so that edging in the front had to be really sturdy because it actually holds back some of that soil. So I'll find that link for those of you that are interested that may not have a huge edging job that you want some of the cord and steel edging for, and you can make your own determination from there. But so why don't we just go ahead and get started? I'll set my camera up and we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm going to get this rose marble salvia into the ground. I talked about this a lot last year. I really like this salvia. I really like the color. It's pretty low maintenance. I do deadhead it as the blooms fade, but it's a really great plant. It's very drought tolerant, and it's a full sun, zones 3 through 9. So super tough, super pretty, grows quite big, heights 10 to 12 high and wide. So I am sticking more of these in here. So it's kind of probably a little bit hard to see right now. We have some rogue pink tulips. They might look a little bit red in this video, but they are actually pink. So that is from They're obviously it's a late blooming variety from years past, and I do also need to cut back some of the spent tulip stalks from what we planted this year. The tulip show is almost over at this point, but the larkspur is really going for it. You can see that tall green, and as I've mentioned, I'm going to allow that larkspur to just give its first flush of blooms, and then I'm going to pull it. I don't want all of the larkspur coming back every year. While it's beautiful, it's just, it ends up being a lot, and you can see all of this. It's kind of detracting, I think, from the boxwoods and some of the perennial structure that is up here. And I also, when I get my camera off of this tripod and I'll show you a closer look, the alliums are about to bloom. They've got big fat buds on them right now, so lots to come up here. But I'm just gonna get these salvia placed where I want them. It's probably, again, it's gonna be hard to see through all of the larkspur, but I'm gonna get them placed in spots where I was short on some last year, so I'll get them placed exactly where I want them, and then we'll get them popped in the ground. Okay, so I was in that spot for some time. We have continuously, let's see if I can get this in the picture, found very large stones like that, 6 or 7 inches beneath the soil. So as we are finding those, we are pulling those up, because if I were to plant a perennial on top of that, it would probably really struggle. It wouldn't be able to penetrate its roots down far enough, and potentially wouldn't, even though it is a drought tolerant plant, I was planting salvia there, it would still probably struggle. So when I find these stones, I try my best to get them out so that they don't cause issues in the future. The soil has been treated over the years. So this is, typically here in Oklahoma, we have red dirt soil. And over the years, this soil has been conditioned. Our other house was really great soil as well. I think it has something to do with us. This neighborhood used to be a golf course, so I think it probably has something to do with that. You know, the soil has always been treated and tended to and things like that, so maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know, but I really love the quality of soil here. And at our other house in Edmond, not the one down the street, we used to really struggle with clay and red dirt, and it had to be treated with gypsum year after year to try to break some of that clay down, and it was just an absolute gardening nightmare. So I am super thankful for good quality soil. So I ran across this. This is a great example of what Oklahoma soil typically looks like. This is a piece of clay. You can see if I rip it open there, it's red. It's almost like a Play-Doh consistency. Holds a lot of moisture and it's very dense. So that is what most of Oklahoma's soil looks like. And you can imagine how difficult that would be to plant in. Okay, so we are done up here in the front for today. I'm gonna get the blower out and clean up all of the residual mess, but you might be thinking you didn't water any of these plants, and that is correct. Everything that I planted today is drought tolerant. Our soil is pretty damp still from previous rains. See if you can see the little ladybug there. Tons of ladybugs out today. So, but soil is still very damp from previous rains, and we are supposed to get a pretty good storm that is going to come through tomorrow. So these will get watered in, then they'll be just fine until that point. It's overcast today and cloudy, so there's no harsh sun, so they'll be just fine. This right here where I planted this Salvia, that should be interesting. So this is the slope to the yard. Everything comes down here to this corner of the yard. That was a really, really damp spot right there. So we'll see how much water Nemorosa Rose Marvel can handle. It was really, really, like, there was some standing water in the bottom of that hole when I dug it. So yeah, I mean, I think that might cover everything up here. Let me actually walk up here really quick. So some of these things that I planted keeping in mind that these tulips are about done. So I planted the salvia behind the tulips, and then I planted the birthday party sedum. Sorry, I just went blank. Birthday party sedum in between. So this will give a good summer structure here once these tulips are gone. In previous videos I've mentioned I've still got to find some sort of evergreen that I want to plant all throughout there. So I'm thinking maybe some yews. I don't know, we'll see. The little lime hydrangeas are looking good. I would expect to see some buds on those here before too long. But yeah, that covers it for the front. Now let's move to the back. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna get done back here. I'm gonna show you the Dahlia tubers that I am planting today. I will show you the hollyhocks one more time. And then after I show you the varieties, I will get all of this garden soil in these raised beds tilled up. So this is, we filled these with organic garden soil last year, and then we top dressed it all with compost. So we will come back this year and top dress again with compost. But again, I'm going to do the top dress of compost prior to seed starting, which it'll still be another week and a half or so. But let me just start with the dahlias. So this is a dahlia that I just picked up locally. Honestly, it doesn't look very good. So the tubers look okay, but you can see they're split. They aren't mushy or anything like that, so that's a good sign. If you have dahlias that are mushy, if you have tubers specifically that are mushy, that don't feel firm to the touch, you need to go ahead and cut those off. But they typically won't produce. But this is the Ninkazi. the other varieties that I'll show you, the next 3 varieties are from Eden Brothers, and these are all 3 dinner plates. So Emery Paul, and you can see here, so these look really good. These tubers look really good and healthy. You can see that they are already starting to push new growth out of the eyes of the tubers. So when I go to plant these, I will plant these in this direction, just like this, roughly 3 to 5 inches deep. This one is Cafe Supreme. You can see there. So see these tubers right here. Don't look super great. Not mushy. This one is a little bit mushy. But overall, this cluster of tubers looks really good. And you can see the growth points right there. And right there. And then these here are the Labyrinth. And these have some huge growth points on them. And then this one had fallen off, or excuse me, these had fallen off in the package. So we'll go ahead and plant those as well, see if we can get any growth out of any of those. And then this is a little bit weird. It was probably upside down in its package. So you can see that this is the top of the tuber, and your tubers should go down in this direction like this. But this eye probably was like this in the package, and it is growing that way. So I'll figure out what I want to do with that shortly. These right here are the dahlias that I planted last year. They are Lavender Perfection, and these are really, I really loved these dahlias last year. They have a really dark, you can see the eye on these, that's the growth point on these is that dark purple. The stems are very dark. The leaves are more of a, more of a darker tint as well. So kind of an unusual stem and leaf combo. You can see the eyes there, the growth points there. And so I'll tell you a secret on these. I dug these up last year after season, and I threw these into our garage. I totally forgot about them. I didn't store them anywhere special. I put them on a seed tray and threw them in the garage, and I forgot about them. And I was pretty certain that I wouldn't get any production out of these. But here we are. Dahlias are pretty tough. So I'm gonna get these in the ground once I get the soil tilled up, 3 to 5 inches deep roughly. And then I'm going to water them. And I'm going to water them because they all have growth points. If they didn't have growth points, I would wait until I saw some growth on these before I watered them. But considering these all have really nice new growth points, I'm going to get these in the ground and then get them watered. And one more time over here for the hollyhocks. So Queenie Purple, height is 24 to 36. So these will need staking. You can see this one had already fallen over, and I had already staked this one actually in its nursery container. Same here-ish, 30 to 36. And then this one over here is much different. So this one is 6 to 8 feet. So this is definitely going to need some staking. So these also, let me see. They have, I thought I saw one of them had buds on it. Here we go. So you can see, if I can get this to focus, the buds right there. So that's exciting. I'm so ready to get plants in the ground back here and get some color going on. But I'm just gonna set up my camera and I'm gonna get to work on kind of tilling up some of these beds. I really need to get this lamb's ear and Veronica out of here. This is a purple Veronica. And then these over here, that and that are feverfew. So hopefully I get those out, but definitely working on those 3 beds and then that one back there in the corner. And these are the plant tags that I got this year. I thought the copper was fun. It comes with a marker. We'll see how well the marker stays on this copper sheeting here, but we're gonna give those a try. I will put the link in description below for these. Okay, so I've set these dahlias up according to height and where I want them in this bed. So there are a couple clumps of tubers in those three packages in the back. There's a couple over here. One small tuber fell off from one of the packages and I don't know which one it went to. So we're gonna plant that and hope I get it in the right row. And then we're gonna plant this one as well. But again, anywhere from 3 to 5 inches deep on these, because they already have growth points coming up. I will water them once I get them planted, and I won't water them again for a little while. And like I said earlier in this video, we do have a storm coming, so I'm gonna water them lightly because they're going to get plenty of water tomorrow. Okay, so this hole is roughly the right depth, growth points facing up. Lightly cover it up and those growth points will find their way through the soil. I should mention that this is the emery paw. It gets roughly only 24 inches tall, so that's why I'm planting this on the inside over here. I'm planting some of the taller ones on that side. So late at the end of last season, I started to deal with mint in one of the beds. I did not plant mint, and I'm starting to see it in these other beds. So I don't know necessarily where the mint came from. I don't know if it was in the soil, or mint is very invasive. At least it is here. I'm not sure about in your zone, but it's very invasive, and I'm starting to find it all throughout these beds, which doesn't make me super excited. So I'm trying to eliminate it as I come across it. And this here is the tuber that I mentioned. It was probably, like I said, upside down in the package, and that's why that growth point is going in the opposite direction. But you can see a lot of new growth points right here beside the one growth point that is very obvious. And I'm going to plant this in the orientation just like this, that it should be planted, and that growth point will come up and find its way towards the top of the soil. All right, and last two tubers coming up right here. All right, well, we got a lot done. Not everything I was hoping to get done, but got pretty close. We went to a gala last night to support the Oklahoma City Police Department, and we stayed out till about 1. So I way overestimated my energy level after getting home so late. So let me flip around and I'll show you what we did get done. So I did get all of the beds cleaned up. We did get some things planted in there. I'm not ready to move this quite yet. I did move the lamb's ear that was over here. Didn't get these 2 beds leveled, obviously, but hopefully that gets done next week. I got the dahlias planted in this bed and the hollyhocks back there. And then obviously the things that we got done in the front. So overall, very productive day. I can see there's already been a squirrel in some of these beds, but anywho, that is what we got done for this video. Tommy also got the yard mowed, and the grass makes me very happy. So I appreciate you guys so much for watching. If you wouldn't mind, please like and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.